Welcome to Beginner's Guide. In this tutorial series, I'm going to teach you the JavaScript. Actually, this course, I'm going to teach you the basic and the advanced concept of JavaScript. So, before we learn JavaScript and the coding part, we should know what is JavaScript. Actually, the JavaScript was designed with the purpose of making the web pages dynamic and more interactive. This JavaScript can be used for the client-server application, and again this JavaScript is a platform independent. It can be work across the platform, maybe a Windows, Linux or Mac. It can be work across all the platforms. Again, it needs to embed it with an HTML document, because this JavaScript we are going to create a dynamic and interactive web page. Actually, to create a web page, we use HTML. To style that web page, we use CSS. But we use JavaScript to make that web page interactive. So that's the use of this JavaScript. If you want to learn this course, what is the prerequisites that you need? You need to know the basic understanding of HTML and CSS. That is the only thing that you need to know in order to learn this course. Again, the final question is, what can JavaScript do? Well, a lot actually. I'm going to give you some examples here what you can do with the JavaScript. The first thing first, you can change the content of an HTML elements. The second thing, I can say you can change the style of an HTML elements, and lot more. Let me just show you some quick example coding part what you can do with JavaScript. So I'm gonna open my text editor. To teach you this course, I'm gonna use Visual Studio Code text editor. In case if you don't have an idea about this text editor, I have a tutorial video for the same. You will find the link in the description. Learn how to use Visual Studio Code so that it is easy for you to learn this course. So you will find the link in the description. Now let me open my text editor. This is my text editor, Visual Studio Code. Here I have a folder name called session 1. Inside that folder I have a file name called index.html. This is some basic coding that I have typed them here. Here I have used the concept of JavaScript to make this web page interactive. What do I mean to say interactive? Let's go to our browser. This is a design that I have created with the help of that coding that I have written in the Visual Studio Code. So here is the box. This box is red in color. Then there is a text inside the box which says click me to change my color. So when I click this one, the color has changed now. This is happened because of the JavaScript. So when you use the JavaScript into your HTML document, you can make the web page interactive. What do I mean to say interactive? When I click, it keep on changing the color. This is called interaction. If you don't use the concept of JavaScript, this web page won't be interactive. Instead, it's going to be a static one, right? So again, as I told you, you can change the content of an HTML document. So let me demonstrate you this one so that you will understand how to change the content of an HTML document. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a file here. So click, I'm going to name the file as content.html. As I told you, JavaScript can be used embedded with a HTML document. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a basic boilerplate of HTML document. So I'm going to press the exclamation symbol. I'm going to hit enter. So this one is going to give me a basic view of an HTML document. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a p tag. I hope you know what is p tag. This is a basic HTML. I'm going to create the paragraph with the help of p tag. I'm going to say hello everyone. Then I'm going to create a button. So that button I'm going to name them as click me. I'm going to save this one. To run this HTML document, all you need to do is right click. I'm going to open with my default browser. In case if you don't know how to use this Visual Studio Code And in case if you don't know what are all the extensions that you need to install in order to work on this JavaScript, kindly watch my Visual Studio Code tutorial video first before you come to this course, right? So what I have created is a paragraph saying hello everyone, then followed by a button name called click me. When I click this button, is there anything happening here? Nothing is happening because I have not used the JavaScript to make this web page interactive. To make it interactive, what do I mean to say to make it interactive? When I click this button, I want to see some changes in this content, in this paragraph here. So in order to do that, I'm going to use the concept of JavaScript. So how are we going to use the JavaScript? Open your HTML document. Here I'm going to create a tag name called script. So what does it mean? Whatever that you write within this script tag is a JavaScript file. So what I'm going to do, when I click that button, I want to see some changes there. So what I'm going to do in this button, I'm going to call an event. So that event is on click event. So what it does, when I click on this button, I want to make changes on this content. So what I'm going to say, on click is an event. Then I'm going to create a function name. A function name can be anything. Let's say my function. So this is an open and closing bracket, because functions we need to use this opening and closing parenthesis. So when I click on that button is going to call this function name called my function. Then it is going to perform some operation. So here is the place where you are going to write the action. So in order to use the function concept in JavaScript, you need to use the keyword as function. We will learn more about function as we move on. So this is an introduction about JavaScript and how JavaScript works. So don't worry. I hope you can some of you can still able to follow. If you don't follow how to create the function and how to call the functions, don't worry, we are still going to learn functions in JavaScript in detail as we move on. So as for now, what you need to know is, in order to create a function, we need to use the keyword name called function, then followed by the name of the function. So what is the name of the function? Here is the name of the function, isn't it so? So my function is the name of the function. So when I click that button, this function is going to be code. So within this function, I'm going to write the actions for this button click. So what I'm going to say, this is a document. So I'm going to use the function name called document. In this document, I want to change, when I click the button, I want to change this paragraph from hello everyone to hi everyone, let's say. Now I want to change this text, isn't it so? So I'm going to create this paragraph with an ID. Let's say the ID name can be anything. Let's say demo. Okay. So I'm going to click that document. From that document, I'm going to use the method name called getElementById. So what does that mean? I'm going to find the element with the ID name called demo. So here the ID name is demo. So write demo here. So I'm going to the document. I'm going to get the element with the ID name called demo. So I'm going to target this ID demo here. Dot. I'm going to use the method name called inner HTML, because this is a whole document. In that whole document, I'm going to identify an element with an ID name called demo. So that element is found in the inner HTML part, isn't it so? So this is a JavaScript part where the script starts and here is the script ended. So this part is the JavaScript. From this body section up to this body section is an HTML part. So I am going to that inner HTML. I am going to change whatever the content that is there in the ID name called demo. I want to change that content into, let's say, beginner's guide. Let me save and open my browser. Let me refresh. When I click, that hello everyone has changed into beginner's guide. So with the help of JavaScript, as I told you, you can even change the contents of an HTML page. It's not only contents, we can do a lot. Let's say you can even change the style. What do I mean to say style? Let me say here in the button on click my function. So let's say here style. I'm going to use the style equals, let's say color. Color of the text is initially, let me say it's going to be red. So let me save and refresh my browser. Here we go. Actually the color of the text initially is hello everyone. Now what I'm going to do here in the next line, let me just copy and paste the same to save the time. The next property that I want to change with the help of JavaScript, I'm going to change the style dot color. Initially it was red, isn't it? So now I want to change them into, let's say, green. Now let me save and go there, refresh. Initially is hello everyone. When I click, the text has changed into beginner's guide and then the color is green now, isn't it? So actually not only the color, we can do a lot. Let's say I want to change the font. Let's say here instead of color I'm going to say font size. Okay, font size I'm gonna set to 300%. Okay, let me save, go to my browser, refresh there. So initially it's red in color. When I click, the font size is now 300% and it's green in color. So you can do a lot with JavaScript. So this is how you can use JavaScript into your HTML document to make it interactive. So this is what JavaScript. So JavaScript was designed with the purpose of making the web pages dynamic and more interactive. This is an introduction about JavaScript. We are going to learn more with the practicals as we move on. As for now, if you have any question, you can drop your question in the comment section. See you in the next tutorial.